Hey guys, what's going on? So it's Robin here with Oracle Rising. Hope you're all doing great. So I've been doing some research on something called MK Ultra, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with this subject, but I think it's really important to talk about this one, and it's kind of a heavy one. It's a little bit intense. So I'm just gonna dig right in, guys. And anyway, I hope you're doing great. So for those of you unaware of what MK Ultra is, this is a CIA project that focused on mind control of human subjects, and this was between the years 1953 and 1973. So some of you just might not be aware of that because of how long ago it was. So this was set up to obviously take control of people, and this was like psychological testing on people, and some people were aware and some people were not aware that they were test subjects for mind control. Some of the methods were a little bit crazy. So I have some notes here too, but just in case you guys are wondering, there's also a Wikipedia page dedicated to MK Ultra. So what I found, you guys, is that not all the test subjects were aware of the testing, and this happened in the US and in Canada. So while I'm on this page here, they give different testing that took place in Canada and the US, which I find incredibly creepy. So there's like on the contents of the Wikipedia page, it shows the scale of the project, the origin of the project, experiments on Americans, experiments on Canadians. So the list for Americans is LSD, other drugs, and hypnosis. There's secret detention camps. There's a list for deaths that occurred. This was a 20-year project being run by the CIA in collusion and approved by some part of the US government, and clearly the Canadian government, if they were going to be doing testing here in Canada. So like I said before, not all of the test subjects were aware of the testing. And in fact, what I read for the Canadians is that some people would go in for something like mild depression or, postpartum, and then their doctor or psychiatrist would sign them up for this testing, and then they would be subject to some pretty vile treatment here. So there was many questionable and or illegal techniques used to test people and to try and gain control over people's minds. There was covert use of psychoactive drugs. There was isolation and sensory deprivation. So sensory deprivation is pretty crazy. That's where they just, they basically cover your eyes, nose, ears, probably wrap the hands, and it's scary. I read this book. This might be a little bit off subject, but I read this book where years ago this girl was kidnapped by a couple because the husband had some sort of he liked S&M and his wife didn't, and so they made a deal that she could have another baby if they kidnapped somebody that he could use his take out his S&M tendencies on. So what they did was they researched sensory deprivation, and they built a box to put over her head, and when they kidnapped somebody and kept her in a closet, and then eventually they kept her for years, built a cupboard for her underneath their bed. So the only input that she got was from this couple, and her mind was completely in their control. So this was part of this MK Ultra project as well. And isolation, some people don't do very well in isolation. Not everybody is Nelson Mandela and they come out a better person. isolation can be very intense for people, especially if there's other stuff going on. And from what I'm reading here, like, I wouldn't doubt it. So sexual, verbal, and physical abuse, and some forms, just a few, of torture. Okay, so, and then in this Wikipedia, it's saying domestic, international operations, and other. Okay, so many of the documents related to MK Ultra have been declassified, and they're sitting on this Wikipedia page. And this is a heavy subject, you guys, because you're seeing what governments are capable of doing. And why would they want to control people? You know, and you want to maybe think that, okay, well, they're just going to control soldiers or, you know, whatever, but that's not the truth. You know, everybody needs to be controlled so the government can continue to farm humans. You know, and the purpose of my channel, you guys, is so that I can help you escape the matrix. And this is really eye-opening, right? So if you haven't seen the movie The Matrix, please go and watch it, because this is really creepy, this MK Ultra, and it's here in black and white on Wikipedia. So most MK Ultra records, I'm reading this right from the page, were destroyed in 1973 by order of CIA Director Richard Helms. So it has been difficult for investigators to gain a complete understanding of the more than 150 funded research sub-projects sponsored by MK Ultra and related CIA programs, which is unbelievable. So the scale of the project, here, let me just move this over. One 1955 MK Ultra document gives an indication of the size and range of the effort. It refers to the study of an assortment of mind-altering substances described as follows. Okay, so they're not giving the names of them. They're just saying substances which will promote illogical thinking and impulsiveness to the point where the recipient would be discredited in public. So substances which increase the efficiency of mentation and perception, materials which cause the victim to age faster or slower in maturity. That's crazy. Materials which would promote the intoxicating effect of alcohol. Materials which would produce the sign and symptoms of recognized diseases in a reversible way so that they may be used for malingering. This is a huge list, you guys. Huge. So they used LSD quite frequently, which, you know, if people don't know they're taking it, can just, my God, even if you know you're taking it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm not going to lie. You know, experiments included administering LSD to mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and sex workers, people who could not fight back, as one agency put it. So, I mean, this is really far-reaching and despicable, in my opinion. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is that, you know, sometimes on my timeline I'll see other people, because I follow a lot of spiritual gangsters, right? So there's stuff like this still going on, in my opinion. So that's why I wanted to talk about it now. Okay, so if it was just history and this is what the government did, probably maybe you won't care too much, maybe be a little bit shocked and carry on. But there's videos of people who, I mean, investigators claim to be victims of MK Ultra. So if you're really curious about this, go to YouTube and just punch in MK Ultra, and then you'll see some very familiar faces acting in a completely dysfunctional manner, which will probably freak you out. So there's footage of inexplicable behavior from Eminem, Katy Perry, Hillary Clinton, And it's just so bizarre. It's like their body stops to function, you know, and they're just wildly behaving. So, and people are saying that this is a result of mind control because it's starting to wear off, or these drugs are not working, or the mind control is not working the way it's meant to. And if these are the techniques that were available in 1953, like, what do you think is available now? You know, and it's so absolutely insidious. If you guys did not see my video on subliminal messaging and how far reaching it is, I want to suggest that you check that out. So there's a lot to be careful of, you guys, a lot to be careful of when you're ingesting information. I mean, I have a healthy paranoia of Western medicine because as soon as you go into a doctor's office, and I've mentioned this before, they want to write you a prescription for something. My doctor wanted to give me a prescription for cholesterol meds, and I have no indicators in my lifestyle to create high cholesterol in my body. And I said that to him and he dropped it. But he sent me for the testing and everything, and then, oh yeah, everything, you should be really taking these meds. And when I pushed back, it was a moot point. It was gone, so, and when I was really, I want to say really young, but in my 20s, I guess it was the start of when my thyroid was starting to act up, and I went in and I had a different doctor, and I said, I'm not really feeling that well right now. And she says, oh, well, let me write you a prescription for that, dear. And I'm like, can we maybe see what's wrong with me? So meanwhile, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I take people's questions and their suggestions when it comes to putting things in my body and what I'm viewing, and I do my own research. And this is why I'm here for you guys, because, and I really, like, if you want to get freaked out by what the government is capable of doing, go ahead, Wikipedia, Project MK Ultra, and just, wow, unbelievable, so this was going on. Not the entire government was aware of it, but enough of it was. I mean, it's the CIA, right? And test subjects not being aware. Wow, I just hovered over this image and it says a one-way mirror, also called a two-way mirror. What? Is a reciprocal mirror that appears the perception of blah, blah, blah. Oh, so that's really creepy too. So they would give people all these drugs and do whatever, mess up their head, and then put them in a room and then watch them through two-way mirrors. Like, this is not cool, you guys. So the entire intention behind this video was just to open your eyes a little bit to what government and people in control are able to do, and they'll do it as if you're a lab rat, people want to think that they matter to their government. Honestly, I don't think they do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having billionaires and then people starving. There would be something done about what is going on, rather than trying to manipulate people and make them pay more taxes and get them all hooked on pills that they don't need instead of promoting wellness. So guys, pretty intense subject, but this is an eye-opener for you guys. So I hope you take it that way, and I hope you do your own research, and let me know what you find. And anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got a cup of tea here cooling off, so I'm going to peace out. Talk to you soon. Bye.